In this video, I'll be talking about the use of setting and names as symbolism in storytelling. And the example I'll be using is the YouTube series Sanders Sides by Thomas Sanders, original Vine star before Vine died. Sanders Sides is a series where Thomas talks to different facets of his personality who he has personified to be able to figure out problems he's having in his life. And they all represent, as I said, different facets of his personality. He's got his morality, his logic, his creativity, his anxiety, and also dark sides, or they're called dark sides, the usually seen as bad stuff, his intrusive thoughts, and his deceit, his capacity for deceit. They all mean more than just what it says, like the morality. Morality doesn't just represent that he is also the embodiment of Thomas's nostalgia and emotions. But they all have names, and the names are very important to what they represent and who they are. We'll start with morality, who is personified as a dad. Thomas Sanders is his dad character from his days of Vine. And his name is Patton. Patton comes from Aristotle's ingredients for persuasion, the appeal to emotions, pathos, or emotions and passion, I think it was. It also sounds like paternal, and Patton is a dad character, so it just makes a lot of sense for him. And Patton is very peppy. He's very upbeat. He acts more like a child than a dad, which is true to his Vine character as well. And he's just a good boy. We like Patton. Next is Logan Sanders, who also comes from Aristotle. His logos appeal to logic and facts. So logos sounds like logic, and it is used as logic, so therefore you'd go from Logan to logic, and it just makes a lot of sense. Logan is personified as a teacher, Thomas's teacher character from his days in Vine, and he is very serious. He doesn't like to be seen as silly at all. He wants to be taken very seriously, though he also doesn't understand metaphors. He doesn't understand figures of speech. And he doesn't understand figures of speech, so like you can say logic was thrown out the window and he'll be like, no, I haven't, I'm right here. He also just goes insane for crofters. He doesn't usually sing. The series gets very musical, but he doesn't usually sing. He normally, he'll like kind of rap. He's more into poetry than singing. So there is one time where he really sings, and it's when he's talking about this jam he's obsessed with, Crofter's brand jam, which is a big meme in the show, but yeah, that's Logan. Next is Roman. Roman is Thomas's creativity, and his name comes from Romanticism, which is originally like Roman times. Romanticism, the age of Romanticism, where just creativity was booming, and yeah. Roman is personified as a prince, the prince character from Thomas's Vines, and he acts like a prince a lot too. He is also obsessed with Disney, which makes sense because Prince, Disney, that he personifies Thomas's liking of Disney and his affinity for acting. He loves to act. He loves to perform. There's a whole episode about it, but we will get to that later with deceit. Next is Virgil. Virgil, all of these are confirmed by the creator as well. So Virgil is Thomas's anxiety, and he is not personified as any specific Vine character. In fact, every character from here on out was never in a Vine. They're all more original. Virgil is anxiety, and his fears. Virgil's name was stated, I'm using the Sandersides fandom wiki for my source. Virgil's name was stated to be the Latin origin and means protector. One of the creators also wanted Virgil's name to fit in with Roman's name, because there's kind of a romantic tension between those two, which is kind of weird because they're from the same person, but whatever. So Virgil was also a poet in Roman times, or Vergilius, however it's said. He was a poet in that time, and is also, the name's also derived from vigil, which is like, he likes to protect Thomas, though he also likes to mess with Thomas, like bringing up things he's done in his past. Yeah, Virgil is very protective of Thomas. There's one part where Virgil just dips out entirely because he feels like they don't like him, and not having any anxiety at all is shown to be a bad thing. So they're like, yeah, we need to get Virgil back, because, well, at that point they didn't know his name, but they're like, we need to get him back, so let's bring him back. And they all go to his room, which is the corner of Thomas's mind where Virgil normally is, and that boosted all of their anxiety being in that space. And the only way they were able to fix it is Virgil forcing them out, or he got them out himself, and it was a whole thing. Sandersides and that episode is also where I learned of Yerkes-Dodson curve, so it's also educative. Very good. Highly recommend the series. Next is the Thomas's intrusive thoughts. His name is Remus. Remus is derived from the story of Remus and Romulus, in which Romulus kills Remus and founds the Roman Empire. I don't know if that's like a true story or something, but Remus is a brother to Roman. Remus and Roman are like two sides of the same coin. Roman is seen as good creativity, as Remus says in his song, unicorn horns and dragon tails, all the good stuff, all the stuff we like. Remus is seen as bad creativity, all this stuff you don't want to think about. I can't say exactly what he said in the song, because Remus is not safe for YouTube. Somehow they got through it, I think, without demonetization? I don't know. And the story of Romulus and Remus is actually pretty prevalent, along with Remus comparing him and Roman to Cain and Abel, the biblical story where Abel kills his brother Cain. And that, combined with the Romulus and Remus story, is prevalent because the moment we first see Remus, he immediately hits his brother in the head with a mace, the spike ball on a stick thing. Roman didn't die from that, but he was knocked out for a while, like the whole episode, which not good for his ego. He is also Thomas's ego, so he was just passed out on the floor for that entire episode. So it was very similar to Romulus killing Remus or Abel killing Cain. Remus killed Roman, and also Romulus, Remus, Roman Empire. Yeah. So they used to, it's basically confirmed at this point, they used to be the same person, Roman and Remus. Roman is the prince, Remus is the duke. They used to be the king, and the fans call the king Romulus. They used to be one person, but when Thomas grew to the point where he separated the good and bad anxiety, or good and bad creativity, that change was made very literal, with them becoming two people. There's also a detail I forgot to mention. So Remus is a dark side, and Virgil was at one point as well. He used to be a dark side. He became good when Thomas started thinking of creativity or as anxiety as good. He became a light side, a good side, and then the dark sides were left without Virgil, and seems like at least one of them took that personally. Speaking of one of them, let's get into him next. Deceit. Thomas's capacity for deceit. His name is Janus. Janus is, half of his face is Snake Boy. He is half snake. Snakes are seen as deceiving. They all have emblems as well. Janus's emblem is a two-headed snake, two-faced. Janus, his name comes from the Roman god of beginnings, gates, transitions, time, duality, doorways, passages, and endings. So, essentially Roman yin and yang, kind of. And he was introduced. He has half snake face, of course. Janus is Thomas's capacity for lying, but it seems like they're trying to say that's not always a bad thing, lying. So, the episode he was introduced in, called Can Lying Be Good? And using that, let's move right into how settings are used as symbolism. Now, the settings, there's not too many. It's mostly in Thomas's living room, which could be symbolism for his comfort place, I guess, where he can just talk to his sides. Where Janus is first introduced, where we didn't know his name. His name was revealed in the most recent episode, but we'll get into that later. Janus was revealed in Can Lying Be Good? When he apparently, they can all shapeshift because they're imaginary, but he was pretending to be Patton morality, and Thomas was having this dilemma where he wasn't the best to his friend, so they're trying to figure out if lying to him is okay or not. Lying to them is okay or not. And Roman said, offhandedly, because he's an actor, Roman said that acting is the same as lying. You're lying to your audience. And Janus takes that and rolls with it and plants this idea in Roman's head that they should go into Thomas's head, into his mind space, in a stage to performative lying, learning what types of lying there are, and with Roman saying that lying is basically a performance, they had a stage set up where they were acting, and Thomas was acting out different ways to lie in different situations. He would do situations where at least one, situations where he did a bad lie and then did a good lie, and the good lie was a type of lying. So like there was white lies, there was like, I don't exactly remember all of them, but, and then it's revealed that Patton was not Patton, it was Janice pretending to be Patton, and they all immediately don't trust him, and that is when we first learn that dark sides exist. And the next big part he played was when Thomas had two things scheduled for the same day, accidentally. One of them was his friend's wedding, and another was a callback for a film that would be very big, and it could launch him into his acting career. But they were on the same day, so they were trying to decide whether it was better to be there for his friends or be there for himself. So Janice used this, and they made it like a court thing. It was like legal thing, and everyone played a part in some way except for Logan, which Logan disliked because he thought he would be better in a lot of the roles, but he was the one that Janice replaced initially, so he couldn't be a big part of it. Anyways, they do this court thing, and the court is like symbolism for like him battling in his mind whether he should be there for his friends or be there for himself. And he ends up being there for his friends, but he regretted it later. And the whole time Janice was trying to teach them that sometimes it's better to be selfish, but they just weren't getting the point because he's deceit and they don't trust him. But then they kind of started listening to him when he said that he was on their side. But yeah, that's about all the symbolism and in the names and settings I can think of in the show. If you guys have anything to add, you can add it in the comments. They're there. And I will see you whenever I upload again.